Would you believe that ancient insulation technologies were more effective than modern building standards? In the harsh conditions of the North American forests, the Cherokee people created a unique type of winter dwelling capable of maintaining a comfortable temperature even in the most severe cold without the use of electricity or gas. These homes were not merely temporary shelters, but complex engineering structures, thought out down to the smallest detail. Every element of the design was tested by centuries of practice in the harsh trials of the wilderness. Today, we often rely on complex devices, but the Cherokee achieved perfection by observing the laws of physics in the world around them. Builders used only the materials provided by nature itself: bark, clay, wood, and grass. These resources, simple at first glance, were transformed by the craftsmen into durable and incredibly warm walls. The process of building a house began with the careful selection of wood that was resistant to rot and could withstand the immense weight of the protective layers. Earth and clay were mixed in specific proportions to create an airtight shell that did not let a single drop of moisture through. It was a harmonious combination of natural resources, transformed into a reliable fortress against the winter cold. Every log and every layer of cladding served a single purpose: to protect the tribe's lives from the biting winds. Winter homes, known as asi, were round in shape and were often partially buried in the ground for additional heat retention. Thick wattle and daub walls, coated with a massive layer of clay, functioned like a powerful thermos, trapping energy inside the structure. Inside such a dwelling, even a small fire was enough to keep the space cozy throughout the long night. The Cherokee created a system where the architecture itself actively worked to keep people warm, rather than simply sheltering them from the rain. Watch the video to the end, and you'll learn exactly how the Cherokee managed to create the perfect thermal barrier, which today's leading architects are studying. We'll explore the secrets of their ventilation system, which allowed them to breathe fresh air without losing the heat accumulated in the room. You'll see how modern passive house concepts were actually implemented hundreds of years ago in the American forest. This knowledge compels us to take a fresh look at the wisdom of our ancestors and their understanding of sustainable construction. Get ready for an amazing discovery in the field of ancient engineering that remains relevant today. What I'm about to show you will turn your understanding of ancient construction upside down. To build the walls of their winter homes, the Cherokee used a special mixture of local red clay and river sand. This material was sourced from specific locations where the soil had increased density and viscosity. The clay was carefully cleaned of large stones and plant roots, turning it into a homogeneous mass. Then dry grass and fine wood fibers were added to the mixture, which acted as modern-day reinforcement. This mixture not only retained heat but also allowed the walls to breathe, preventing excess moisture from building up inside the house. Each layer was applied by hand, creating a monolithic structure capable of standing for decades. Applying the clay mortar required special patience and knowledge of natural cycles from the craftsmen. The first layer had to dry naturally in the air to form a solid foundation. If the clay dried too quickly, it could crack, which would compromise the airtightness of the entire house. Therefore, builders chose times with moderate humidity, avoiding direct sunlight during the foundation laying stage. Every movement of the craftsman was honed by centuries of practice, passed down from father to son. The result was a surface that resembled modern concrete in strength, but possessed far superior thermal properties. The interior of the walls was also carefully treated to provide additional comfort. The craftsmen mixed fine wood dust and ash into the clay to make the surface smooth and pleasant to the touch. This helped reflect heat from the hearth back into the center of the room, minimizing energy loss. The thickness of such a wall could reach 30 centimeters, creating a powerful thermal inertia effect. During the day, the walls gradually heated up, and at night they slowly released the accumulated energy to the home's inhabitants. Thus, the temperature inside the dwelling remained stable, regardless of sudden changes in the weather outside. The floor in a Cherokee winter house was also an important part of the overall thermal insulation system. It was not simply leveled, but constructed as a multi-layered structure of stones, sand, and tightly compacted earth. The bottom layer of stone served as drainage, diverting excess water away from the house's foundation during thaws. Sand was laid on top, acting as an excellent insulator that blocked the cold from the frozen ground. The top layer of earth was mixed with lime or charcoal to prevent the growth of microorganisms. As a result, the floor always remained dry and relatively warm, which was critically important for people's health. The upper part of the wall smoothly transitioned into the roof, creating a seamless contour without sharp corners. The absence of corners facilitated natural air circulation and the even distribution of heat throughout the entire space. Streams of warm air from the fire rose gently upward, flowing around the walls and warming the entire space. There were no dead zones in such houses where cold air could accumulate. The aerodynamic shape of the house also reduced wind load, allowing the building to literally flow around air currents. This significantly reduced mechanical wear on materials and extended the building's lifespan. The technologies used by the Cherokee demonstrate a remarkable level of human adaptation to the environment without harming nature. All materials were biodegradable and returned to the soil once the house had completed its life cycle. Construction did not require complex equipment, but was based on a thorough understanding of the region's physics and biology. Today, we can learn a great deal from these masters as we create eco-friendly and energy-efficient homes. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this ancient construction method. Share your thoughts on this type of architecture in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to the channel to discover even more secrets of the past. Want to know a secret that people pay thousands for? The main element of a winter home's outer protection was bark, which was harvested in a special way. The Cherokee used tree bark with high density and resistance to rot, such as white oak or elm. The material was stripped in large sheets, taking care not to damage the fiber structure. This was done during a specific season when a sap flow slowed down and the bark became most pliable. The bark sheets were then dried under a heavy press to keep them flat and prevent warping. The bark sheets were fastened to the frame with an overlapping pattern, similar to modern roof tiles or fish scales. This ensured perfect water drainage during prolonged autumn rains or the spring snowmelt. Each sheet was secured using leather straps or tree roots, which were pre-soaked to make them elastic. The joints between the sheets were additionally coated with coniferous tree resin, creating a completely waterproof layer. The bark served not only as a waterproofing layer, but also as additional insulation due to its porous structure. It trapped air bubbles, which are the best natural insulator. Under the influence of external factors, the bark gradually roughened, becoming even more durable and resistant to mechanical damage. Over time, the sun, wind, and rain transformed the wooden shell into a veritable armor. Such a facade required no painting or special maintenance, becoming more reliable with each passing year. Fungi did not grow within the layers of bark, as the tannins in the wood served as a natural antiseptic. This helped maintain a healthy atmosphere inside the house for many years. Residents could feel safe even during the fiercest storms. Using roots as fasteners was another ingenious solution devised by the Cherokee. Pine or spruce roots, cleaned of soil and soaked in water, possessed incredible tensile strength. As they dried, they contracted, pulling the bark sheets together with tremendous force, making the structure virtually monolithic. Unlike metal nails, such fasteners did not rust and did not damage the wood structure. They worked in harmony with the material, expanding and contracting as humidity levels changed. This prevented cracks and gaps from forming in the house's siding. The appearance of such a house harmonized perfectly with the surrounding landscape, making the settlement almost invisible in the forest. The bark naturally changed color depending on the light and humidity, camouflaging the human dwelling. This was important not only for aesthetics, but also for the tribe's safety. The house became part of the forest without disrupting the natural balance or frightening the forest's inhabitants. Such architecture was the highest expression of respect for the surrounding world. The Cherokee did not live in conflict with nature, but in harmony with its laws. The layer of bark also served as excellent protection against fire, despite the fact that wood is considered a combustible material. The dense structure of the bark, with no access to oxygen from the inside, burned extremely slowly and reluctantly. If a spark landed on the outer surface, it would most often simply die out before it could cause any damage to the structure. The clay base beneath the bark served as an additional fireproof shield that protected the interior space. This multi-layered structure made the house one of the safest places in the forest. Safety and reliability were the top priorities of the ancient builders. It is amazing how solutions that seem simple at first glance turned out to be the result of deep observations of nature. Every sheet of bark, every branch, and every root occupied its own strictly defined place in the structure. Today, even with complex composite materials, we often fail to achieve the level of comfort that was available to the Cherokee. Do you think modern technology could benefit from using such natural materials in construction? Guess what happened next when the Cherokee decided to combine this knowledge with a unique heating system? And you've definitely never heard of this unique secret before. The interior layout of a Cherokee winter house was designed with a strict focus on conserving heat. At the center of the circular room was a hearth, which served as the sole source of heat and light. Sleeping areas were arranged in a circle around the hearth, raised above floor level to protect against cold air. This allowed heat to be evenly distributed among all occupants, creating a zone of maximum comfort in the center. The absence of partitions facilitated free air convection, preventing the formation of cold corners. The sleeping platforms were made of cedar or pine and covered with soft mats of reeds and dry grass. Heated stones from the hearth were often placed beneath the platforms, creating a warm floor effect. This was especially important for the elderly and those who needed special care during the winter. Shelves were hung above the beds to store personal belongings and food supplies, which were also warmed by the hot air. This use of vertical space allowed for the most efficient use of the house's floor area. A free space always remained in the center for socializing and shared activities. The hearth was not just a place for a fire, but a complex engineering system built into the floor structure. A ring of large river stones was laid around it, which stored heat throughout the day. Smoke escaped through a small opening in the center of the roof, which could be adjusted depending on wind strength. This system ensured a constant supply of fresh air necessary for combustion without cooling the entire room. The correct ratio of the entrance opening to the chimney created ideal draft. The air inside always remained clean and breathable. To minimize heat loss, the entrance to the house was made very low and protected by a double curtain of thick animal hides. Often, a small vestibule or corridor was built in front of the entrance, serving as a thermal airlock. This prevented cold air from entering the living area directly when the door was open. A person entering the house first stepped into an intermediate space where they could shake off the snow and leave their outer clothing. This design allowed the internal microclimate to remain stable even with frequent movement of people. The entrance was always oriented away from the prevailing winter winds. The ceiling of the house was often woven with thin willow branches, creating a beautiful geometric pattern. This weaving served as an additional framework to hold the roof's insulating materials in place. Over time, the branches became saturated with smoke from the hearth, hardening and becoming resistant to insects. The smoke acted as a natural preservative, protecting the wooden structural elements from decay. This was yet another example of how the Cherokee utilized the byproducts of daily life to benefit their dwellings. No resource went to waste in their meticulously designed way of life. Winter homes were built with the expectation that they would serve as the center of life for several months. Therefore, the ergonomics of the interior space were thought out down to the smallest detail to minimize unnecessary movement. The distance from the hearth to the sleeping areas was optimal so as not to get burned, yet not to freeze. Pathways inside the house were always kept clear for safety in case of emergencies. Comfort and functionality blended harmoniously in this ancient engineering masterpiece. If you enjoy learning about the daily lives of ancient peoples, don't forget to like this video. What you're about to learn will completely change your understanding of energy efficiency. The secret to the exceptional warmth of Cherokee homes lay in the use of the thermal inertia of massive clay walls. Clay has the ability to slowly absorb thermal energy and release it just as slowly. When a fire burned in the hearth, the walls gradually accumulated energy, becoming a massive radiator. After the fire died down, the walls continued to heat the room throughout the night. This spared people the need to constantly maintain a strong flame, saving firewood. The air gap between the layers of bark and clay created additional resistance to heat transfer. In physics, this is known as the thermos principle, where several layers of different materials work more effectively than a single thick layer. The bark protected against external cooling by the wind, while the clay retained the house's internal heat. The grass filling inside the walls broke up the airspace into millions of tiny cells. This virtually eliminated heat loss due to convection within the wall itself. This multi-layered structure forms the basis of modern passive house construction. Another important factor was the density of the materials used in construction. The Cherokee carefully compacted the clay and sand so that no large air pockets remained inside. The high density ensured better heat transfer from the hearth to the walls during the heating phase. At the same time, the outer porous layers of bark blocked this energy from escaping outward. The balance between the dense core and the porous shell made the house a true fortress against the cold. Modern engineers refer to this approach as the optimization of building envelopes. The smoke vent in the roof functioned as a valve, regulating internal pressure and temperature. Craftsmen knew how to adjust its size so that smoke could escape while most of the heat remained inside. Often, a special bark canopy was installed above the vent to protect it from snow and rain. This canopy also helped create the necessary draft depending on the wind direction. The ability to control airflows was a vital skill for the head of the household. Properly adjusted ventilation ensured the health and longevity of the entire family. Using animal hides as door curtains added another layer of insulation. Fur has unique properties that trap air and block the cold. The hides fit tightly against the opening, preventing gaps through which warm air could escape. Bison or bear hides were often used as they were particularly thick and had dense fur. The weight of the hides kept them in place even during strong gusts of wind. It was a simple yet incredibly effective solution for protecting the entrance. The hearth in the center of the house served not only to heat the space, but also to disinfect it. Smoke from certain types of wood killed harmful insects and bacteria in the wall and ceiling paneling. This helped keep the house clean and prevented food supplies from spoiling. The Cherokee knew which types of firewood produced more heat and which produced more beneficial smoke. Careful selection of fuel was part of the overall strategy for managing the home. As a result, winter shelters remained safe and cozy throughout the season. Comparing these ancient homes to modern buildings often does not favor the latter. Most of our homes lose heat through cracks, windows, and thin walls, requiring constant operation of heating systems. The Cherokee, however, created a system that relied on its very design and the properties of the materials. This makes us wonder how far we have come in understanding true comfort. In the next chapter, you will learn how they coped with this terrible weather with the help of the sacred fire. What do you think the temperature was inside such a house on a freezing day? Fire played a central role in the Cherokee winter house, serving not only a practical but also a spiritual function. Only certain types of wood were used to light the fire, as they provided a steady and long-lasting burn. These were usually oak, hickory, or ash, which were pre-dried in special shelters. Large logs were arranged so that they smoldered slowly for many hours. This provided a constant background temperature necessary to keep the walls warm. Every morning, the person on duty added new firewood, keeping the fire alive. Managing the fire required special skill and attention from all residents. It was necessary to ensure that the flames did not grow too high, as this could lead to overheating or a fire. The slow smoldering of the coals was more effective for heating the stone base of the hearth. The coals were often covered with ash at night to preserve the heat until dawn. In the morning, it was enough to fan a spark to fill the house with warmth and light again. Such careful stewardship of the fire was the basis of the tribe's survival during the winter. Ashes from the fire were not discarded, but used for various household purposes. They were added to a clay mixture for repairing walls or used as a cleaning agent. The ash also served as an excellent fertilizer for small garden beds near the house when spring arrived. The Cherokee understood the value of every byproduct of their daily lives. Nothing went to waste in their harmonious and frugal way of life. This was an example of an ideal zero-waste economy of antiquity. During periods of severe frost, the intensity of the fire was increased slightly so that the walls could store more heat. Residents closely monitored the color of the smoke rising from the roof to determine the quality of the burn. White smoke indicated good draft and dry firewood, while black smoke signaled problems. The ability to read the fire was essential for ensuring the safety of the entire settlement. Smoke also served as a signal to neighbors, confirming that all was well in the house. Mutual aid between households began with observing their chimneys. Interestingly, flat stones were often laid out around the hearth to dry wet clothes and shoes. The heat from the stones gently removed moisture without damaging the leather or fur. This allowed warriors and hunters to always have dry and warm gear for forays into the forest. Proper care of equipment was critical for preventing frostbite. The hearth served as both a repair shop and a laundry at the same time. Every action in the house was aimed at preserving health and combat readiness. Thus, the sacred fire was the heart of the Cherokee winter house, binding together architecture, physics, and spiritual life. Without it, even the warmest walls would be nothing more than cold structures. He transformed a shelter into a true home, filled with meaning and energy. The Cherokee experience shows that true comfort arises from the union of natural materials and human wisdom. The energy of fire continues to warm us through the centuries, reminding us of the importance of simple and timeless truths. Are you ready for the shocking truth about how these homes withstood record-low temperatures? When snowstorms hit the Appalachians and temperatures dropped to critical levels, Cherokee homes demonstrated their best qualities. The thick layer of snow accumulating on the roof became an extra layer of insulation. Snow has low thermal conductivity, and its great mass helped retain internal heat even better. Residents did not clear the snow completely, leaving just enough for extra protection. The house literally blended into the winter landscape, becoming part of the snowdrift. Inside the house during this time, a period of silence and deep concentration on domestic affairs set in. People gathered closer to the hearth, using the minimum amount of energy for movement. This time was used to teach the youth, tell long stories, and plan spring work. Social cohesion helped make the forced isolation within the home's walls easier to bear. Psychological resilience was no less important than physical warmth. The Cherokee knew how to maintain a cheerful spirit even during the darkest and coldest months of the year. On frosty nights, firewatch became more frequent to prevent even the slightest cooling of the air. The embers were raked, and the densest logs were added to provide maximum heat. The light of the fire, reflecting off the frost on the door curtain, created magical patterns inside the room. The quiet crackling of the wood was the only sound breaking the night's silence in the winter home. People slept peacefully, knowing that their sleep was protected by the warmth and care of their fellow tribespeople. Everyone understood their responsibility for the common well-being. The air inside the house remained dry and clean, which prevented frostbite and pneumonia. Wet clothes dried instantly by the fire, without creating dampness in the living area. The Cherokee paid great attention to hygiene even in such cramped conditions, using steam from hot stones to cleanse the body. This helped maintain a high level of health and prevented the spread of infections. Cleanliness was part of a culture of survival and respect for one's body. A healthy spirit and a healthy body was the ideal of every warrior and mother. When the frost receded and days of temporary warmth arrived, the Cherokee aired out their dwellings. They opened the entrances and enlarged the smoke vents so that fresh air could fill the space. This helped eliminate stale odors and refresh the indoor atmosphere. The house was once again prepared for the next cycles of cold, which could arrive at any moment. Flexibility in managing the home allowed for quick adaptation to any vagaries of the weather. The art of living in harmony with the seasons was perfected. The cold test was also a check on the quality of each specific home's construction. If a heat leak was discovered somewhere, it was immediately fixed using whatever materials were on hand. Most often, they used a mixture of clay and dry grass, which was always kept on hand in a warm place. Quick repairs helped avoid serious problems in the future and strengthened the structure. Experience gained in extreme situations was immediately put into practice. This is how Cherokee technology was refined over hundreds of years. Cherokee homes were true masterpieces of adaptation, allowing people not merely to survive, but to live a full life. While many other tribes were forced to migrate in search of warmth, the Cherokee established a settled and sustainable system. Their winter villages were oases of stability in the ever-changing world of mountains and forests. This allowed them to develop culture, art, and social institutions even in harsh times. The stability of the home was the foundation of the stability of the entire society. How prepared is the modern person for such trials without the aid of electric heaters? We have grown accustomed to relying on external systems, forgetting the potential of architecture and materials themselves. The Cherokee experience reminds us that true strength lies in the knowledge and ability to utilize the laws of nature. In the next chapter, you will learn how this knowledge was passed down from generation to generation and why it is relevant today. How many years do you think such a house could stand without major repairs? The choice of materials for building a Cherokee house was based on a deep understanding of the biological properties of the region's plants. Each type of tree or shrub had its own unique purpose in the building structure. For example, trees with a high concentration of natural resins and tannins were chosen for the frame. These substances protected the wood from rot and damage by wood-boring insects for many years. Builders knew during which phase of the moon and at what time of year the wood possessed maximum strength. This knowledge allowed them to create structures that stood for decades without signs of decay. The chemical composition of the clay used for the walls was also carefully analyzed by the craftsmen. They mixed different types of soil to achieve the ideal balance between plasticity and hardness after drying. The addition of crushed freshwater mollusk shells or limestone made the clay more resistant to moisture. This chemical additive transformed ordinary soil into something akin to modern cement. The walls became as hard as stone, but retained the ability to regulate air humidity. It was a triumph of folk chemistry over the elements. Special attention was paid to tree roots, which served as the binding element of the entire structure. Pine roots boiled in water with added ash became as flexible as ropes, but retained the strength of steel. After drying, they firmly secured the frame elements, creating an unbreakable bond. This technique allowed houses to be built without a single metal nail. This was important not only because of the lack of metal, but also for the even distribution of loads. Wooden roots functioned as a single organic material. The antibacterial properties of the smoke from certain types of wood helped preserve the interior surfaces of the house. When burned, cedar or juniper wood releases essential oils that kill mold and fungi. The walls and ceiling gradually became coated with a thin layer of wood tar, which served as additional protection. This process occurred naturally in the course of daily life, requiring no special effort. The house took care of its own preservation through the rituals of daily heating. Such interaction between human and material was the pinnacle of adaptive engineering. Knowledge of the growing seasons allowed the Cherokee to plan construction and repairs for the most favorable times. They understood when the bark could be most easily stripped from the trunk without damaging the tree's vital layers. This allowed them to gather materials while causing minimal damage to the forest, which was their shared home. Environmental consciousness was woven into the very technology of construction and harvesting. The Cherokee believed that gratitude toward the forest ensured the reliability of their dwellings. Harmony with nature was not merely a philosophy, but a practical method of work. Today, material scientists are rediscovering the properties of these natural components as they strive to create new building mixtures. We are returning to our roots, realizing that nature has already created ideal solutions for most of our challenges. The Cherokee experience serves as a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern scientific research. Studying their methods helps us create a healthier and more sustainable future. The biology of the forest continues to teach us lessons that we are only beginning to grasp. If you compare the heat loss figures of a Cherokee house and a modern frame cottage, the results may surprise you. Thanks to the enormous thermal mass of the clay walls, Cherokee winter homes had a much more stable temperature profile. Modern homes heat up quickly, but cool down just as fast when the heating system is turned off. The Cherokee house, on the other hand, functioned like a massive battery, smoothing out temperature fluctuations between day and night. This provided a much healthier and more comfortable sleep for the residents, without sudden spikes of heat and cold. Modern mineral wool and foam insulation certainly have excellent insulating properties, but they cannot regulate humidity. In Cherokee homes, clay acted as a natural hygrostat, maintaining an ideal humidity level of around 50%. This prevented the mucous membranes from drying out and reduced the risk of colds during the winter. Natural materials created a living atmosphere, whereas synthetic materials often require the installation of complex forced ventilation systems. The Cherokee's comfort was passive and did not depend on the proper functioning of mechanical systems. With proper care, the durability of the Cherokee's natural materials surpassed many modern solutions. Oak bark can last for decades, becoming only stronger and more beautiful over time. Modern siding and roofing materials often lose their appearance and properties after just 10 to 15 years. Cherokee construction was designed to last for centuries, to be passed down from generation to generation. This fostered a completely different attitude toward housing, as a sacred space rather than a temporary commodity. Sustainability was embedded in the very philosophy of their lives. The air quality inside a Cherokee winter home was exceptional thanks to constant renewal through the chimney and porous walls. In modern, airtight homes, carbon dioxide and harmful emissions from furniture and finishing materials often accumulate. Sick building syndrome was completely unknown to the ancient inhabitants of the Appalachians. Their dwellings healed them rather than poisoned them, creating ideal conditions for recuperation. Natural ventilation operated according to the laws of physics, requiring no maintenance or energy costs. It was a triumph of simplicity over complexity. The psychological aspect of living in a round house made of natural materials also deserves attention. Studies show that rounded shapes and natural textures reduce stress levels and promote relaxation. The sharp angles and artificial surfaces of modern apartments often create subconscious tension. The Cherokee lived in a space that harmonized with their inner biology and the rhythms of nature. This helped them maintain clarity of mind and calm even in the most difficult situations. The home was a place of strength and spiritual renewal. The acoustics inside a Cherokee dome house were soft and pleasant, dampening harsh sounds and amplifying quiet speech. This fostered open communication and better mutual understanding among family members. Modern apartments often suffer from poor sound insulation and unpleasant echoes from hard surfaces. Thus, Cherokee homes were not primitive shelters, but high-tech life support systems for their time. They provided a level of comfort and safety that in many ways surpasses our modern standards. We should take a closer look at their experience to make our homes more humane and eco-friendly. The future of architecture may lie in a profound rethinking of these ancient principles. We are returning home to the roots that have never ceased to be relevant. The Cherokee Winter House was not merely a place to sleep, but a center of social life and the transmission of cultural heritage. During the cold months, when outdoor activity was reduced to a minimum, the most important processes of community cohesion took place inside the house. Several families living under one roof learned the art of compromise and mutual support. This fostered a unique ethic of collectivism, where the well-being of each individual depended on the common good. Surviving together forged incredibly strong bonds between people. Life in a confined space demanded a high level of social skill. The elders played a key role in the life of the winter home, serving as living repositories of knowledge and traditions. Sitting by the fire, they passed on legends, rules of conduct, and the secrets of craftsmanship to the young. It was a natural school of life, where learning took place through living examples and storytelling. The young people saw how the elders coped with difficulties and adopted their calmness and wisdom. The continuity of generations ensured the survival of the culture under the most adverse conditions. Every word of an elder carried weight and significance for the tribe's future. Women were the full-fledged mistresses of the home's interior, responsible for the family's comfort, nutrition, and health. They perfected methods of food storage, sewing clothes, and caring for children in winter conditions. Their skill in making mats, baskets, and pottery made the home not only warm but also beautiful. Women's creative energy was the glue that held the social structure of the home together. Respect for women as the guardians of the hearth was the foundation of Cherokee social organization. Their labor was quiet but an absolutely essential feat. Raising children in the winter house took place in an atmosphere of constant attention and love from all the adults. The younger members of the tribe were always under supervision, learning through observation and participation in small tasks. They saw examples of hard work, honesty, and respect for elders every day. Socialization within such a close-knit and friendly group fostered strong and resilient personalities. Cherokee children grew up with a clear understanding of their place in the world and their responsibilities. The communal home was their first and most important school of life. Conflicts within the home were resolved quickly and peacefully through the mediation of elders or through open discussion. It was impossible to live in discord under one roof, so people strove for harmony and mutual understanding. The ability to listen and hear others was a vital skill for every resident. Cherokee traditions prescribed restraint and politeness in communication, which helped avoid friction. Peace in the home was the key to peace throughout the tribe. Social hygiene was just as important as physical cleanliness. The winter house also served as a place to receive guests from neighboring settlements, which facilitated the exchange of experiences and the strengthening of alliances. Hospitality was one of the Cherokee's chief virtues, and every traveler was offered warmth and food. Thus, the Cherokee winter house was a complex social organism that ensured not only the physical, but also the moral survival of the people. It was the cradle of culture, where the values and traditions that allowed the Cherokee to weather all the trials of history were forged. The experience of their communal life within the warm walls of bark and clay remains an inspiring example for all of us. We see that the true warmth of home comes not only from the fire, but also from the love and harmony among people. Social capital was the greatest treasure of this remarkable people. Today, the Cherokee legacy in the fields of construction and ecology is gaining new relevance in light of global climate challenges. We realize that the endless consumption of energy and resources leads to a dead end, and we are beginning to seek alternatives. Cherokee methods offer us a path back to natural materials and passive life support systems. Many modern architects are already using the principles of thermal inertia and layered insulation, drawing inspiration from ancient structures. We are relearning to listen to the rhythms of the earth and use them to our advantage. This knowledge is not merely history, but a practical tool for creating a better future. The ecological wisdom of the Cherokee teaches us to treat every tree, every stone, and every handful of clay with care. They have shown that it is possible to live in comfort without destroying the environment, but rather by becoming an organic part of it. This lesson is critically important for modern humanity, which faces the problem of natural resource depletion. The transition to biodegradable materials and local construction could be the salvation of our planet. We must learn to build in such a way that we leave behind living land, not garbage dumps. The Cherokee legacy points us in the right direction. Studying the history and technologies of indigenous peoples helps us better understand our own connection to the earth. We are not strangers on this planet, but its children who have temporarily forgotten the language of Mother Nature. The Cherokee preserved this language in the architecture of their winter homes, leaving us a priceless vocabulary. Every log and every layer of bark in their structures speaks of love and respect for life. Our task is to decipher these messages and apply them in our daily lives. We stand on the shoulders of giants whose wisdom was rooted in simplicity and truth. Modern scientific research confirms the effectiveness of many methods that were once considered superstitions. We are discovering that the time of wood harvesting does indeed affect its strength, and that clay possesses antiseptic properties. This compels us to treat the empirical knowledge of ancient peoples with great respect. Science and tradition can and must work together to achieve the best results. The synthesis of ancient wisdom and modern technology is the path to true progress. We learn to be humble in the face of the eternal laws of existence. The Cherokee legacy lives on not only in museums or books, but also in the hearts of people striving for a conscious life. Everyone who chooses natural materials or builds their home with the cardinal directions in mind continues their legacy. We become part of a great chain of continuity linking the past, present, and future. The warmth of a Cherokee winter home continues to warm us across the centuries, reminding us that humans are capable of great deeds in harmony with nature. This knowledge gives us hope and strength to create in a changing world. We build our homes on a solid foundation of centuries-old wisdom. In conclusion, I would like to say that the example of the Cherokee teaches us the most important lesson: the ability to live with dignity and happiness, using what is at hand. They did not wait for outside help, but created their own world based on love for their people and their land. Their homes made of bark and clay were stronger than any concrete because they were built with heart and soul. May this inspire us to be creative and to seek our own paths to harmony. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. Subscribe to the channel to uncover new chapters in the amazing history of humanity. Cherokee winter house construction techniques are a unique example of how a deep understanding of nature enables the creation of outstanding engineering solutions. These houses provided warmth and safety in the harshest conditions, surpassing modern building standards in many respects. The use of bark, clay, and the energy of fire in a unified system created an ideal microclimate for life and cultural development. We have seen that true efficiency lies in simplicity and an understanding of the physical laws of the surrounding world. The Cherokee experience remains relevant today, offering us lessons in sustainability, self-sufficiency, and environmental awareness. Which of the Cherokee technologies described surprised you the most? Are you ready to use natural materials in your own home, or do you prefer modern solutions? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your opinion is very important to us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new fascinating videos about the life and culture of the indigenous peoples of North America. We'll continue our journey back through the centuries, uncovering the secrets of ancient craftsmen and their amazing legacy. See you soon in the world of history and discovery.